And that is Dead Gaming. And what better way to start this off with the deadest game alive? And that is Spark City World, aka All Girl Arcade. Now, this site launched in 2009. It was originally a McDonald's minigame from the kids' meals, and the click stars were little toys you could get. And it took popularity in 2010. That is when I first made my first account. It was my first name and a few numbers, which wasn't smart, so I used a popular word, which is Rockstar. And my username was FunRockstar109KK, because FunRockstar109 was taken, so instead of just changing the numbers, I just put KK. I was young, I was dumb, but let's talk about something dumber, and that is the shutdown, the downfall of Spark City World. Now, Spark City World was really popular in 2010 to 2014, up until the update that made this website crash and burn for good. It had a lot of users. It was the first multiplayer virtual world made for girls. And obviously, people got around that. They also introduced non-playable characters as guys that you could date and get rewards for. That annoyed me, honestly. But it was a pretty good game, and it was made by Fuel Industries. I believe the owner wanted to make it for a relative, a little kid in their family, for a game that was dedicated to girls. And I think this is one of the reasons for their downfall: the marketing. You can't make a game that's based on creativity and only give it to one person, one specific type of person. If we look at Stardoll or Movie Star Planet, they approach both boys and girls. If we look at Webkins, they know their target audience has grown older, and they adapted to that. And that's why these sites are still alive and thriving. And this is something that Spark City World failed to do. They stuck with being all girls only, and they never changed or grew with their audience. The players grew up in age, but there was still a safe chat setting where, a lot of words were restricted, and that annoyed a lot of users, and that got worse. And there is a reason why, and that reason is why Spark City World did crash and burn. And now before I explain what really happened, the failure, I will say this, that I contemplated making this video or telling anyone what truly happened because I knew this person personally. What I didn't know was how far they were going to take it. And what I recently found out was they did an interview with a Blogspot article, on an article, telling what happened. And this was around the time where I lost communication with them as well. The name they use in this interview is not theirs. The person behind the drama is he, not a she. I believe for saving face or legal reasons. They hacked some other sites as well. They used an alias and said they weren't able to hack. I will say that now, that they were absolutely able to hack. So let's take a look at this article. Now, the person who did the interview, who was behind everything, calls himself Jamie. Their name is not Jamie, and they say that they were not able to hack. Jamie was perfectly able to hack anyone, especially in the day of Flash Player. He could do it in seconds, and he did it on Stardoll, Movie Star Planet, IMView, everywhere. And he did it here too. I'm guessing for legal reasons. He didn't. And I will also say, if Mike Burns or anyone at Fuel is watching this, anything that I say is not factual, it is opinion or hearsay, please don't sue me. Anyway, let's get into it. So in 2014, Jamie hacked an account, just a troll, and the account was named Pink Lilac. Now, unknown to Jamie at the time, Pink Lilac was pretty popular. There were a few well-known players, and this was one of them. And when other users saw that this user was hacked, they got alarmed. And Jamie saw this as an opportunity for power over these people. And the audience in Spark City World, they weren't too old. They weren't in their 30s like the audience of Webkins is, but they were tweens or teens, and they were still young enough to fall to someone and be afraid of them. And Jamie took advantage of this. And we'll go ahead and give an example of what Jamie would do. As you can see here, you had to word things in a way to be able to say it. For YouTube, it would be this. That was the original safe chat settings. And this is what Jamie looked like. And aside from the original Pink Lilac account, she had multiple others in the same ghost costume, which would follow other users around. Now, this was done via what I'm guessing a proxy. A proxy was used to do this. As far as finding the location of where people were, you were able to go on this little iPad thing and see where your friends were. Obviously, no one befriended Pink Lilac. I would sometimes give them the location if they asked. I was friends with them. I did not know exactly what they were doing. I wasn't online that much. Had I known, I wouldn't have. Sorry to anyone. But they were also able to obtain this knowledge with either another account or a proxy. But yeah, this is what they did, and they would follow users around. There is an option in the proxy where you could basically enter the user's username and have an account that's not even logged in, just follow. I know that sounds confusing, but in the Flash player days, that was pretty easy, at least for him to do. And that was one tactic of scaring and intimidating people. Another thing they did was they harassed people to listen to everything that they wanted them to do. It was all these ridiculous things. One of them is explained in the article pretty well. And that was kind of how it worked. And this is just intimidation, getting people to do things that they wanted them to. See, again, we see Rockstar SCW, a very popular name at the time. My username was originally, this is what Jamie would have people do. She would have them put on ghost costumes, follow people around, just intimidating people to the fullest extent. And this is one of the rooms in Spark City World. Spark City Worlds had a lot of rooms that were really cool with animations. As you can see, this guy is moving, and then mini games, and just an overall open world. This is the map. It was a really great game. And you could click on these and go to different places. She's going to chase people, and here that really grabbed everyone's attention was that she went after someone who was particularly popular on the game. Here you can see players obeyed Pink Lilac and did not revolt to her face out of fear of being hacked. It was pathetic, really, Jamie states in our interview. There was a user by the name of Flossie302 who went by the name of Justin. Names were limited. Anyway, Justin was part of Pink Lilac's, what in the interview is called a plan. There was no plan. This person was really just trolling. She basically blackmailed Justin by saying that if he didn't date Pink Lilac or do whatever he said, that she would hack his girlfriend Lulu, whose username kind of sounded like ketchup. That's what Pink Lilac would call her. Anyway, Justin was pretty popular by everyone, pretty well liked, and this angered his friends, causing them to report Pink Lilac even more. The article says this gave her exactly what she wanted, but not true. So, at this point, you begin to wonder, what was the plan, the motive? Now, I'm going to read this, but the real plan was troll, waste time, have fun with it. But Pink Lilac took credit for the result. And some of this is true, some of it isn't. We'll go into it. Pink Lilac, aka Jamie, not their name, hated people who acted popular and entitled on Spark City World. Not true. She said at the time it made her skin crawl and she wanted revenge. Once she saw the power and influence she had over people, she knew exactly how to get it. Now, this whole part right here, not true. This part, absolutely true. Once they saw that people were afraid of them and that they would do whatever the hell they were told, Pink Lilac took full advantage of that and went with it. And Jamie explains the plan. The plan was get people to hate me, but fear me as well. This was very true. Justin was friends with everyone. Who better than him to get on the worst side of? Once they hated me, I'd bother the living fuck out of them until they had no other choice but to report me 10 times harder. Now, Jamie did not like being reported because that meant that they would have to make another account, more accounts, and it was Pink Lilac 57 by the time this was over, by the way. And what would they report her for? Bad language. Spark City World would have no choice but to make the safe settings on the chat even worse. At the time, it was genius. Now, this is Pink Lilac, or Jamie, what he calls himself, is taking credit for. Pink Lilac, I remember, when the safe settings were taken into place, they were upset because it meant everyone on the site would leave and no more trolling, no more power. And he goes on to say, I had no intention of the site closing or stopping Fuel Industries' money flow. This is a very important thing. Fuel Industries, they had contracts or deals with PlayStation, but All Girl Arcade was their main source of income. And when they lost those amount of players in that large of an amount in such a short amount of time, I tell you, the second the Safe Chat update was there, that was the last day, hundreds of people stopped logging in. He says, I don't think I had anything to do with the bankruptcy, and I don't think I should be blamed for that. I do realize what I did was bad, and I am sorry to anyone I hurt. I believe this part. I love this site just as much as you guys, and it hurt me to see it be taken away, even if it was partially my fault. And this is true. Jamie was upset when the site took its downfall in 2015 after the new Safe Chat update. Now, with this new Safe Chat update, I question the logic of the developers. You cannot blame Pink Lilac here. There were already complaints about how strict the chat system was, and also the fact that the audience was older. They could handle more language. Hell, Club Penguin was less strict than this. But for some reason, their solution was, okay, let's make this more strict. Let's make what everyone else hates worse. I think that was their own fault. I also think that they might have guessed that they wouldn't be able to keep up with the virtual world part of gaming. Stardoll, Movie Star Planet, these games were already taking kind of a dip at this point, but they made changes to keep up with their current audience and continuous updates. This was the last update that Spark City World ever did. Jamie confirmed that she never publicly hacked anyone since Pink Lilac. That is not true. Jamie was perfectly capable of hacking. This person says, I believe Pink Lilac's actions were deranged and screwed, but just how idiotic were people to believe her claims? Hacking. Being able to track people. Hacking. Pink Lilac wasn't able to hack herself a pair of real clothes, seeing she only roamed around in that tablecloth ghost costume. This is hilarious, but it isn't true. Jamie was able to hack. And him saying he wasn't able to is probably so he doesn't get sued or whatever. But what is true about this article is that I blame the stupidity of SCW players. I also blame the stupidity of the developers. Pink Lilac was a troll. The all-girl arcade website was gone. And a few months later, the bankruptcy was finalized. And we can see it here. Now, this is a legal document. They're pretty lengthy, but I will focus on the main point. Just a few months after everyone left, Fuel Industries started losing money at a rapid rate. The losses at the end of the year of the final update was nearly $4 million. And the next year, it was almost $2 million. So the company was losing money, probably because they had investments in other projects and to keep Spark City World alive. They had taken financing from RBC/Chow to keep their projects alive until 2017. In early 2017, the companies breached certain financial and other covenants with their secured lenders, which finance the company's operating activities. This right here explains why the site was shut down in early 2017. That was when they couldn't take any more from RBC or Chow. And as you can see, the dates match. As soon as everyone left the website, they lost in mass amounts. And I think one of the best parts of the game was the creativity that went into it. And then one day it was no longer to be found. I think overall, Spark City World was built to fall apart someday. Making a website that's creativity-based, social-based, only to one specific type of person is a bad idea to begin with. I understand the idea of all girls, but it doesn't work that way. And we see that with Webkinz, especially. Webkinz relaunched, and they noticed that their target audience now. Yeah, I guess that's it for the video and really explaining what truly happened. Why did it shut down? And this is why. Poor decisions, a person trolling, people taking it too seriously, not handling it right, being naive, I guess. You can't really blame a 13-year-old for being naive, but they were, and a failure on the developers' end on handling the situation, which in turn led to a loss of nearly $5 to $6 million and their entire company. And that is all for this video on my first Dead Gaming video series, and I will see you guys on the next one.